Do you know Baba Vanga?
A blind woman from the Balkans who claimed to see the future, a peasant girl who became a national icon, a mystic whose predictions still terrify and amaze. This is the extraordinary life story of Baba Vanga, the woman known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans. From her tragic childhood to her chilling prophecies, discover how one woman's visions captivated the world.
Early lifehood of Baba Vanga. Baba Vanga was born as Vangelia Pandiva Dimitrova on January 31, 1911 in Strumica, a small town in the Ottoman Empire, now part of North Macedonia. She was born prematurely and suffered early health issues. Her mother died when she was very young, leaving her father, a poor soldier, to raise her. Vanga was a quiet child, imaginative and unusually empathetic.
The storm that changed everything. It was an ordinary afternoon in the village of Novo Selo, when the skies suddenly darkened without warning. The clouds swirled into a monstrous spiral. A tornado, rare and unexpected in this part of the Balkans, was about to strike. 12-year-old Vangelia, or Vanga, as she was lovingly called, had been outside, helping with chores. In a moment, the calm turned to chaos. Fierce winds roared through the village, lifting roofs and uprooting trees. Screams echoed as people scrambled to find shelter. But before she could react, the storm caught her. Vanga was lifted into the air, as if by invisible hands, and thrown violently across a field. No one saw where she landed. The villagers searched frantically, calling her name into the howling wind, but there was no trace. Hours passed before they found her, lying in a field, battered and unconscious. Her eyes were sealed shut, packed with dirt, blood, and sand. She was barely breathing. At the time, medical help was scarce, and her family had no money for proper treatment. The infection worsened. Her vision began to fade, first in one eye, then the other. Within weeks, Vanga was completely blind. But something else had changed in her. In the silence of her new darkness, she said she began to hear whispers. She described figures in her dreams, faceless, yet familiar, giving her knowledge she had no way of knowing. The storm had taken her sight, but it had awakened something deeper. While others saw only darkness, Vanga claimed to see the future. A girl once lost in a storm now stood at the threshold of the unseen world. In the quiet years that followed the storm, Vanga lived in a world of darkness. But inside, something extraordinary had begun to stir. She was no longer just a blind girl in a poor village. She was different. Her senses seemed sharper. She could feel people's energy, sense their pain, and, as villagers would soon claim, even know their secrets. One day, a neighbor came by in distress. Her son was missing. Vanga sat in silence for a moment, then calmly told her, "Don't worry, he's alive. Look near the river bend, under the leaning tree." Hours later, the boy was found, exactly where Vanga had described, dazed but unharmed. Word began to spread. Soon, villagers came not to help her, but to be helped by her. She began to speak of things no one had told her. Illnesses before they were diagnosed, lost relatives, even events that hadn't happened yet. Vanga didn't claim to be a prophet or a saint. She often said her visions came to her like dreams while awake. Images, voices, fragments of moments yet to pass. She said a presence guided her, something she could not see, but which spoke through her mind. Though she remained poor, people brought her gifts, flour, candles, goats. In return, she gave them truth, raw, sometimes painful, but undeniable.
The 1940s arrived, and with them came the thunder of World War II. Europe burned, nations fell, millions were displaced. And in a quiet corner of Bulgaria, a blind woman whispered warnings about it all. Soldiers began visiting Vanga, not just for comfort, but for answers. Many came asking, "Will I survive the war?" Others came crying, asking where their husbands or sons had vanished to. And time after time, Vanga answered with chilling precision. She would pause, sit in silence, then utter words no one could explain. "He is not among the living anymore. You will receive a letter by Monday." and it would be true. Her growing reputation could no longer be ignored by the authorities. In 1942, the most powerful man in Bulgaria, King Boris III, came to see her. The king was intrigued. Here was a peasant woman with no formal education, no sight, yet she had the ear of the people. Legend has it she warned him of betrayal and death, and shortly after, in 1943, King Boris died under mysterious circumstances. By this point, Vanga's name had spread across Eastern Europe. The communist government, usually hostile to superstition, decided to monitor her instead of silence her. Secret police were assigned to transcribe every prophecy, every word she spoke. In fact, by the 1950s, Vanga wasn't just a village mystic. She had become a state-approved oracle, and people from the highest levels of government came to her, in secret, asking questions they couldn't ask anywhere else. She predicted Stalin's death. She warned of natural disasters, wars, and political assassinations. And all this without ever reading a newspaper, watching a broadcast, or traveling beyond her town. But her visions didn't stop with politics. She began speaking of events decades into the future, events so strange and terrible that even those who believed her found them hard to accept. The world was listening now, and Baba Vanga was just getting started. Life in Petrich. In the years following the war, Baba Vanga settled permanently in a small home in Petrich, a sleepy town in southern Bulgaria. From the outside, her house was simple: whitewashed walls, a small garden, and a wooden gate. But inside, it became one of the most mysterious places in Eastern Europe. Every morning, long before sunrise, people began to gather. Not just villagers, but doctors, scientists, government agents, and foreigners. Some came quietly, others under government protection. All came for one reason: to hear the words of Baba Vanga. She spoke little, but when she did, her words carried weight. Some said her voice would suddenly change when she received a vision. Calm, slow, and full of a distant, almost otherworldly clarity. She would often begin with, "There will be sorrow in your house," or, "The fire you lit will return to burn you." Many wept. Some left in silence. Others returned months later to confirm that what she said had come true. Though blind, Vanga could often describe what her visitors looked like: their clothes, expressions, even details about their homes that no outsider could possibly know. She never charged money. Instead, people brought sacks of flour, oil, honey, candles, or wool, simple gifts for the blind woman who helped them. In the 1960s and 70s, her reputation grew so large that even Soviet scientists came to investigate. Parapsychologists and neuroscientists tried to test her. They measured her brain waves, interviewed her for hours, and brought control subjects to see if she could detect lies or back secrets. Again and again, Vanga left them speechless. Some dismissed her as a highly intuitive woman. Others believed she was in touch with a higher intelligence, a spiritual frequency that few could understand. But Vanga never changed. She refused fame. She never moved to a bigger house. She remained in Petrich, surrounded by her flowers, her dogs, and her visitors. This little home became a spiritual checkpoint for thousands, a place where fear and faith collided, where ordinary people sat across from the extraordinary, and all the while, Vanga continued to warn of the future. At her final day, as the 1980s turned into the 1990s, Baba Vanga's health began to decline. After decades of service to her people and her country, emotionally, spiritually, and mystically, her body was weakening. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, which slowly spread despite treatment. Yet even in her final years, she continued receiving visitors. Weakened, yes, but still alert. Her voice was softer, but her words remained sharp. She predicted the collapse of the Soviet Union. She foresaw the death of Princess Diana. She even warned of steel birds attacking the Great Towers, a statement many believe referred to the 9/11 attacks years before they happened. Because of the Mathis' visitors and then the Lathis-Krakted businesses, you can see the Prafik or social desties. To her closest circle, she spoke about the future of humanity. Because she warned of climate disasters, spiritual decay, and the rise of new global powers. Some of her predictions remain mysterious, written down by state officials and locked away. Others were never recorded, only remembered by those who were there. On August 11, 1996, Baba Vanga passed away at the age of 85. Her funeral was attended by government officials, religious leaders, and thousands of ordinary people. The streets of Petrich were filled with mourners, many carrying photographs of loved ones she had helped. But even in death, she was not done. Before she passed, Vanga claimed that another gifted child would be born, a girl in France in the year 2009 who would carry on her abilities. No one has verified if such a girl exists, but the prophecy keeps many watchers waiting. Today, her small house in Petrich has become a museum and shrine. People still come, not for answers, but to feel the energy of the woman who gave hope to so many. Her story lives on in books, documentaries, and word of mouth. Some call her a fraud, a folk legend inflated by politics. Others believe she was a chosen messenger sent to guide humanity through the chaos of the modern world. Whether skeptic or believer, the fact remains Baba Vanga saw what others could not. And in doing so, she left behind not just predictions, but a legacy that still echoes through time. Finally, Baba Vanga's story is not just about prophecy. It's about fate, resilience, and the mystery of the unknown. Whether you believe in her powers or not, her impact on history and culture is undeniable. One woman, one voice, 100 visions. This was the life of Baba Vanga, the blind seer of the Balkans. The time will come when man will walk among the stars and ask me again, what comes next, Baba Vanga?
Thank you for watching the story of Baba Vanga, a woman of mystery, memory, and deep spiritual power. If her life inspired you or made you question what's possible, leave a comment below. Subscribe for more powerful stories of legendary lives and forgotten truths.